What if your pursuit of health is actually making you sick? What if the pressure to be fit, clean, and in control isn't coming from science or even scripture, but from a cultural anxiety dressed up as discipleship? What if the real spiritual crisis isn't about what we eat or how we move, but about how we see the body itself? Welcome to We Have a Spiritual Problem, a podcast where we confront the deeper questions beneath our personal struggles and collective crises. I am your host, Dr. Jeff Armstrong. I'm not a theologian or a philosopher, or at least by training. I am a PhD exercise physiologist with a deep curiosity about the sacred, especially the intersection of the physical and the spiritual. Today's episode is based on an article that I came across in recent New York Times that was written by Jessica Gross. We begin the episode with a quote that honestly says a lot more than it intends to. Less Prozac, more protein. That was said, unironically, by a wellness influencer named Alex Clark at the Young Women's Leadership Summit that was hosted by Turning Point USA. Clark claimed the new ideal woman lifts weights, eats clean, balances her hormones, and has her life together. That, she says, is the new mainstream. Conservative, controlled, disciplined. And what about those who don't fit that mold? Liberals, she apparently sneered, are, quote, TikTok activists with 5 shades of autism, panic attacks, and a ring light, unquote. Now, I know what you're thinking. This can't be serious, but it is, because this isn't just one influencer's attempt to, quote unquote, own the libs. It's a snapshot of something bigger, something older, something deeply entangled in American religion, politics, and our crisis of meaning. We are witnessing a full-scale return of Christian diet culture, with new influencers, new hashtags, new language, and the same old shame. Jessica Gross's article in the New York Times gives us a historical lens. This is not the first time Christianity has spiritualized diet culture. The 1990s were filled with Christian weight loss books, like The Way Down Workshop, Body by God, and What Would Jesus Eat? In 2021, megachurch pastor Rick Warren co-authored The Daniel Plan, a diet and wellness guide blending scripture with supplements, co-authored by Dr. Daniel Amen and Mark Hyman and Dr. Mehmet Oz. The book actually includes the line, "Why should God heal you of an obesity-related illness if you have no intention of changing the choices that led to it?" Let that sink in. Healing is conditional. Worthiness is conditional. God's grace? Apparently also conditional on your calorie count. This is not theology. It's spiritualized neoliberalism. Your body becomes a project, your weight a moral score, and your salvation a reward for clean living. But this revival isn't a throwback, it's a rebrand. In the 2000s, thinness was grungy, decadent. Gross writes about Kate Moss in muddy boots at Glastonbury. It was cigarettes, coke, and heroin chic. The mantra was, I'm just one stomach flu away from my goal weight. It was disordered, yes, but not dogmatic. Now, thinness has been repackaged as discipline, control, clean eating, self-mastery, even righteousness. The words have changed. Fit instead of thin, clean instead of restrictive, self-care instead of dieting. But the message is the same. Your worth is written on your waistline. And in Christian spaces, it becomes even more insidious, framed as obedience, faithfulness, purity. This is what one might call discipleship by macros, and it's an idol masquerading as holiness. Let's bring in my SPIES framework: spiritual, physical, intellectual, emotional, and social wellness. Christian culture privileges the physical, not the real physical health, not movement, sleep, or healing, but aesthetic conformity, tight abs, visible jawlines, metabolic superiority. This hyper-focus fragments us. You cannot flatten your identity to a dress size and call that discipleship. You cannot marginalize emotion, ignore intellect, suppress questions, and neglect social connection, then claim to be whole. Wholeness is not about control. It's about integration. And SPIES, at its best, reminds us the spiritual life includes the body, but it also includes the soul, the mind, and your relationships, and your pain. Let's take this all a bit deeper. Let's revisit the tragedy of the commons. This is the classic 1968 Garrett Hardin essay, has helped shape my worldview. The essay focused on population and finite resources. In a nutshell, when individuals overuse a shared resource for personal gain, the whole system suffers. I want to suggest that the cultural imagination of the body is our shared commons. It has been overfarmed by industries, by churches, by influencers, by biohackers, by branded movements promising clarity through collagen and salvation through supplements. We have commodified the body until it's no longer sacred. It's simply a billboard, a brand, a before and after post. In a commons, the goal is stewardship, mutual care. In a diet culture, the goal is status, visibility, superiority. Stewardship is a very Christian concept, but here, the diet culture takes it too far. This is why the body, especially the female body, is always under surveillance, because control in this system equals worth. Which brings us to this. You can legislate universal health care. You cannot legislate universal health, because health is not about the access to services. It's about the meaning we assign to bodies, choices, illness, and identity. As long as we believe that health is a moral achievement rather than a communal right and responsibility, we will keep punishing people for being sick, or fat, or poor, or disabled, or different. We use health as a proxy for who gets to belong, who deserves care, who gets to speak. That is a spiritual problem, not a clinical one. The phrase, "Make America Healthy Again," has started circulating in right-wing health circles. Personally, I am a fan in principle. I think RFK Jr. has an opportunity to take up the reins of his uncle and make a principled effort to benefit the health of the American people. It echoes the nostalgia of MAGA, but replaces politics with protein. The nation we must take back is now the body. But what kind of health are we restoring? Is it white, thin, able-bodied, meat-eating, hormone-balanced, scripture-quoting health? Or is it something deeper? Because real health, true wellness, is not an aesthetic. It's a quality of being, of relating, of becoming. You don't get there by self-denial alone. You get there by alignment with community, with truth, with the sacred. And this is where Teilhard de Chardin comes into the conversation. And yes, if you've been following this podcast, you know I mentioned Teilhard a lot. Teilhard didn't see bodies as containers for sin or discipline. He saw bodies as sacred instruments in an unfolding of divine evolution. The cosmic Christ, his term for the divine at work in all creation, is not asking us to conform. It's asking us to evolve, to become more conscious, more compassionate, more whole. The omega point isn't about six-packs and ketones. It's about union. It's about participation. It's about the transfiguration of all things. That includes bodies, but not against themselves, rather in fulfillment of themselves. This is not a flattening of flesh. It's an exaltation of it. We've misread Paul's words in Corinthians, your body is a temple. Somewhere along the way, we've turned that into a renovation project. Cut the carbs, add HIIT, remove pleasure, install guilt. But that's not what a temple is. A temple is sacred because of what it houses. A temple is where the divine meets the human. It's not a trophy, it's a home. Today's backlash to Ozempic and semaglutide drugs tells us a lot. Christian wellness influencers claim these meds, quote, remove the need for self-control, end quote, which they see as a fruit of the Spirit. But here's the irony. If your spirituality is rooted in control, then anything that frees someone from shame will feel like a threat. True self-control is not willpower. It's wisdom. It's alignment. The ability to say yes to what gives life and no to what steals it. And sometimes grace looks like surrender, not self-denial. Sometimes healing comes not through harder effort, but through letting go. If you've ever felt like your body was a problem to be solved, hear this. You are not a project. You are not a marketing opportunity. You are not a workout plan or a devotional discipline or a dietary trend. You are a living, breathing, sacred mystery. You are a commons. You are a temple. You are not meant to shrink. You are meant to shine. And until we believe that, deeply, collectively, spiritually, we'll keep treating health as a battleground, faith as performance, and wellness as worth. But the truth is simple. Your worth was never up for debate. Thanks for listening to We Have a Spiritual Problem. If this episode resonated with you, if it made you angry, thoughtful, or hopeful, please consider sharing it. You can find past episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Until next time, you are not a brand, you are not a project, you are a temple. Treat yourself like it. Be good to yourself, be good to others.